what you see is what you get with President Trump, and you need to understand when he gets serious, he's serious, you know.
A group of key countries together that have both demography and economy on their side. And you are doing it at a time when there clearly is a change in the world order, where I believe personally that the nexus of power and now I think all of us pretty much have a choice. And the choice is between multilateralism, which you are representing, and multipolarity.
Well, I can tell it's a big victory for Simon Ekpa, I know, the Biafran government in exile. I know definitely that Ngozi Orebeze is not relenting in the struggle, to bring serious, attach serious solidarity to the Biafran government in exile, in that regard. And subsequently, we have seen a lot of, underground work going on, which I would not want to disclose on this platform. But the fact still remains that a huge relief now for this breaking news for Biafrans all over the world, and more especially dedicated to the resilient, self-acclaimed Biafran Prime Minister in exile, Simon Ekpa. Alexander, stop, has questions to answer with the congressmen on how this judgment was constituted and carried out. And the US government has ordered for immediate review, given happenings that is going on in Nigeria. And most of the congressmen sees Simon Ekpa as a resistant voices to Fulani killing spree in Nigeria, and of course a major pillar on the struggle to realize Biafra in defense of series of Islamic government invasions that is taking place in almost all the regions of the nation called Nigeria, even though a lot of people don't want to agree that Nigeria is a country, not even to talk of being a nation. So I think that public hearing spearheaded and that got attention of Ted Cruz, Raleigh Moore, and so many powerful US congressmen in that regard is actually what exposed and got the attention of the congressmen, and this thing was formally and officially relayed to the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, through the Chief of Staff, Susan Wills, who said it very clearly, that Donald Trump is ready to carry out, a thorough investigation on how the judgment was carried out against, Simon Ekpa, who is being seen, as a Biafran Finnish citizen. Let me just put it that way. But what our takeaway there is that the news has already gotten to Asorock, and all the people that was involved during that period, are already standing up for the impossibility, looking at what is actually going to happen now that the United States government is now trying to giraffe on illegalities and deals, crude oil, butter, that led to the conviction of Simon Ekpa in Finland, and that has brought the issue of attracting a certain level of penalty on Finnish government. And also we are hearing that the French government is also possibly, according to that report, was also involved. And we know how close Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the French government is. And of course, the French government is being seen to be very close to the Finnish president, Alexander Stubb, over the issue that is happening in Gaza and of course in Ukraine today. So there's no country that can accommodate the unfortunate moves, trying to see who is going to be a friend from the international community of Bola Ahmed Tinubu to continue to launder the image of Nigeria and maybe carrying out international mission on behalf of Nigeria. So these investigations now that and the committee that was actually set up by the United States of America is about to, I think they should be leaving to Finland now. And the Finland government is going to have an interface, with these delegates. And of course, there's plan that they are going to have a brief, interaction with the Finland, with the, of course, the Biafran government, Prime Minister in exile, Simon Ekpa. And after that brief, it is expected that they will be able to, pass a certain message to Asorock. And of course, more escalation and more international pressure and image damage on the side of Nigeria will begin to take a global dimension on so many criminality and atrocities that these people has actually committed against voices of resistance. You can see virtually in the north, in the west here, there is no pronounced voice that is checking and suppressing or fighting back this Islamic government in Nigeria, apart from Simon Ekpa and of course Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And willingly and unfortunately, the government of Nigeria has actually identified these powerful individuals of Biafran extraction as a major obstacle in achieving their mission. Now that these people has been with outside reach, let me put it that way, why is it that we are still experiencing killings in Nigeria? They attacked IPOB as a killing organization. They also mentioned Simon Ekpa, but now we are seeing real jihadists operating in disguise under the Islamic government of Nigeria, infiltrating regions. Look at what happened in River State yesterday. Just at the back of Asari Dokubo's house, you can see the shooting that took place there. You can see what is happening in Abraka in Delta State. The same people. You can see what is happening in Asaba. The same people. You can see what is happening in Kwara. The same people. You can see what is happening in Oyo State. The same people. You can see Benue, Plateau, and Aziz, Middle Belt Aziz. We are still talking about the same people. Then, how did Simon Ekpa and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu now came into the issue of insecurity in the eastern part of the country? That is the question. And I think they made it very clearly, that it is not going to be funny. Nigeria is going to fall into a trap that they will not be able to come out from as the world begin to see a lot of atrocities and criminality that has been going on behind the scene, behind the curtain, that the world did not know about. It is this Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's unfortunate and illegal sentencing that exposed some certain part of this criminality, the atrocities that is happening in Nigeria. And also the issue of Reverend Ezekiel, who is bent of exposing the other side too to the world, and of course the U.S. government through
Facebook was deactivated. His Facebook was deactivated not too long ago. But
of course, it's not a Facebook thing. I think if you know whether it's deactivated or activated, in that regard, that does not actually matter. What matters now that the world has caught attention. It has attracted the world, on what, in fact, Nigeria is currently under surveillance. And most of the atrocities and criminality that took place over the years are now being reviewed by the most powerful nation in the world. And to an extension, calling on the judge and the Finland government to tender evidences of Simon Ekpa's judgment to the, of course, congressmen and of course the United States government. Wow! What a shame. What are we going to hear any moment from now? Nigeria is in a big mess. I think, you see, for some time now, the federal government of Asorock, let me just put it that way, might be in serious panic now. They cannot be able to face what is going to come to Nigeria if it starts happening. Because, the war seems to be gathering against Nigeria at this moment, because they have discovered that the reason why Simon Ekpa and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was totally clamped down, not because they committed any atrocity, but because because they wanted this voice to be totally silenced so that they'll be able to carry out, destroy this secular structure in Nigeria, destroy Christendom in Nigeria, and be able to establish a state where all the entire governors in Nigeria will be Fulanis or Muslims, and thereby initiating Sharia and run clearly, significantly, what is called Islamic government. And they saw Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa as the only obstacle to this plan. So they went after them. Now, the message has gotten very clearly as a result of that public hearing that took place in the United States of America, and reports that keep on coming, petitions from various organizations around the world, more especially the one coming from Dr. Masanga, who is bent. And also we are seeing Finn Bruce, the IPOB US-based lawyer, working seriously to get a global attention of the kind of thing that is playing out in Nigeria, which is being seen as a complete ethnic and genocidal clampdown on resistant Christian voices in Nigeria. Taking, for instance, the call to review the judgment that was passed against Simon Ekpa in Finland by Alexander Stubb-led government.
There is no offense. How do you let me look here? Madam, these people are simply saying Biafra, Nigeria is no more. And they have a right in Europe to say so. Two, Nigerian system itself has said the court relied on intelligence from Nigeria. Asanda, which Nigerian intelligence can give you the credibility? It's corrupt, underfunded, compromised by terrorists. They have recruited the terrorists in intelligence system. So the information, Finland collapsed in its all democratic format. When it said it relied on Nigeria's intelligence information. Anybody can come up and say, Asanda is doing this, that. Do you go and use that intelligence? Finland is one country that is now changing from proper democratic institutions to being corruptly entering Africa by paying huge sums to get contracts. Finland has been given contracts with Nigeria. Nigeria has given them to build dams, gas pipelines, and so many dispensaries. They are corrupt. They just wanted to get this guy to appease the Nigerian government. If you look at the evidence, I've read the entire evidence of how the three judges came to a conclusion. I bet if it was in South African court, it would be thrown out on the first day. There is no judgment where you say you use the intelligence, Nigerian intelligence, when Nigeria itself has terrorists, part of the intelligence system in Nigeria. They are terrorists, and they have admitted. And they have admitted they have recruited some. So which intelligence information did they use? I'm telling you, that sentence is going to be quashed by the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg. It will be quashed. That guy will walk out free.
So what now then for Simon Ekpa, this Finnish citizen of Nigerian descent? Must he go the human rights route, as you say?
I want to tell you, originally, these people wanted to kidnap this man quietly at night. Thanks God, people started going to European court somewhere, and volunteers stopped it and told Finland that you are in trouble. We know what you are doing. They wanted to take him to without even going through the court. This man is a Finnish citizen. He has been in Finland for over 30 years. Why do you now, where do you take him? What has he done? He's simply saying Nigeria needs to be rearranged. All of us in Africa know that Nigeria has collapsed. All of us in Africa know there is no administration in Nigeria. All of us know that Nigeria is a country without a country and a state without a state. Governance has collapsed. And these people are simply saying, can we rearrange Nigeria and go away? It's like what I have told you about Congo. Biafrans are over 80 million people out of 250. There are people killing people there. There are terrorists coming down daytime and they take over your house, take over your farm, feed on your food, kill your people. They are there. It is happening. And African Union has not said any word. United Nations Security Council has not said any word. United Nations habitually sentenced Nigeria to a country which has abducted people, killed people, and if you have such reports, how can you sentence a man for 6 years when you know that the state you are dealing with is a rogue state?
Let's go to Burkina Faso now. The government there has passed a law banning homosexuality. What kind of sentences will those who are found guilty face?
You know, that is something in Africa, which is, you know, you and I, some of us live in Britain. I've lived in Britain for 40 years. And we know these things take place in UK. They are there, everybody. Nobody. Do your business, I do my business. But this is in Africa, some countries, like my country, Uganda, the laws are very clear. I did not expect anything else. Even in Nigeria itself, even in Ghana, everything, the same law. Africans will, on this one, Africa has just accepted, and all of them have talked in one voice. Asanda, there is nothing. Even the punishment could be worse in Burkina Faso, because Burkina Faso is a military regime, and if you are found doing those type of things, go and do them somewhere else, but not in Burkina Faso. Just as Uganda, the laws are very strict. Worse, maybe in Africa there is only South Africa, which is your country, which allows some of those ideas. But most of the countries in Africa, I think it is a new concept that it has not been taken very seriously by those countries.
After all that has been going on over the years, should we be talking about this thing at this point in time? The answer is capital no. So why is it happening? Even when America was threatened, this guy didn't care. They still continue with their business. So that will tell you that this thing is deeper than you and I are looking at it. It's deeper. We are going to live with this thing maybe in the next 100 years. That is the impression I'm getting here. Except something serious is done by this government or any other government, this thing will not go away. It doesn't look like it will go away very soon. It doesn't look like, because the profit is so high. They are making money. They are cashing out. That is the first thing. And so, why do you want a business that is thriving to stop? Please tell me. When there are so many girls and so many schools to kidnap and make money, why would you want it to stop?
The center of gravity of Boko Haram and insurgency in Nigeria are the sponsors of that program. It was beyond us. Because the job we need to do is kinetics. Fight, destroy places, resolve issues. Yep. But we cannot resolve issue of sponsors of Boko Haram that were in government that we know.
We've got Commodore Kunle Olaomi joining us here this morning. He's the head Department of Criminology and Security Studies, Christland University, Nigeria. Good morning, sir. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Here we are today. So details are emerging that raises more questions than answers at the moment. But what's your impression of this, for instance?
Thank you very much. My impression, I think, is just the impression of every Nigerian at this point. I've served the military intelligence for the past 35 years. It has always been the case. Our problem is religion and social-cultural. I mean, People expect me to come here and start talking about kinetics, about operation and so on. I've been an operational commander all my life. I've commanded warships, I've commanded troops, I've commanded men outside Nigeria and so on. But I'm not going to come to your station to discuss kinetics. The problem is not kinetics. In 2017, 2016, I told them, General Lawrence Shakin then, that the challenge we have in this country cannot be solved the same way we solved the problem of Niger Delta. The Niger Delta problem was solved during Yar'Adua time, basically by me. And I told them that we can't use that same template for Boko Haram. I told General Lawrence Shakin to look at the center of gravity of the problem. And we all came together. I was made a member of the committee in 2016-2017. And we came to a conclusion after several arguments. And the arguments were three. To identify the center of gravity of the problem, one group said it is the fighters, the Boko Haram fighters are the center of gravity, so we should go after them. Another group said the center of gravity of Boko Haram is Abubakar Shekau. So if we go after Abubakar Shekau, then the problem of Boko Haram will be solved. I took exception to the group. I said that is not the center of gravity of the problem of Boko Haram insurgency that we were having. And General Lawrence Shakin asked me, allow me, why are you giving problem? What is the problem? Give us the answer. And I told General Shakin that if I tell you the answer, you're not going to be able to solve the problem. He said, what is the problem? I said, the center of gravity of Boko Haram and insurgency in Nigeria are the sponsors of that program. It was beyond us. Because the job we need to do is kinetics. Fight, destroy places, resolve issues. Yeah. But we cannot resolve issue of sponsors of Boko Haram that were in government, that we know.
When you say we, who?
I was in the military intelligence. Okay. And the defense headquarters staff that I work with, they know. And that was why we couldn't pursue that aspect that could have resolved that problem. Because you need to arrest people. And recently, 400 people were gathered as sponsors of Boko Haram. Why is it that the government has refused to try them?
So the government knows sponsors of Boko Haram?
Of course, it's in the news. In real life, you see that the defense headquarters cannot conduct any operations that is not sanctioned by the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Yeah. They cannot.
No matter how small, little
they cannot. So when the Yar'Adua government decided to put an end to Niger Delta militancy, that was in 2007. What he did was simple. He called all the security chiefs and all the intelligence chiefs and tasked them to come up with a solution. The Defense Intelligence Agency, the National Intelligence Agency, the Department of State Services were called with the Inspector General of Police and the Interpol to come up with the solution to the problem. Then the problem was Niger Delta. The president was Yar'Adua. He was dispassionate. He wanted to solve the problem. Within 6 months, we solved the problem. I remember I have to go to Angola to go and bring Herioka, and nobody in Nigeria knew what we did. All we know is that since 27, 28 that we conducted the operation under Yar'Adua, Niger Delta issue has remained manageable. This government does not want to resolve this problem. They are escalating it because of tribal and religious sentiment.
So when you said this government does not want to resolve, why would you go that length? The meetings that have happened, the purchase, the change of guard and the rest. Why would they do all that if they don't want to solve this?
Because that is not the solution. What you just mentioned is not the solution. Mm-hmm. When you have a problem at policy level, strategic level, operational level, when you have a problem, what you need to do is to identify the center of gravity of that problem and attack it. That's what you do. What they are doing is not attacking the center of gravity of the problem of Boko Haram and insurgency. So if the president is buying Super Tucano, is changing service chiefs, That is not the solution. We are looking at the wrong side. It's not kinetic. It's politics.
Are you ruling out kinetic altogether?
I can't rule out kinetic because
so it's
a spectrum. It's a spectrum, you know, so you can't rule out something. But the center of gravity is what they should look at. And what is it? I'm saying it on this channel. It is the sponsor of Boko Haram and bandits. You know, when I worked with the DSS in 2007, because when Yar'Adua approved the operational order that we did, we now have to work together as a team. He actually forced all of us to sit down together and work together. I was surprised at the tremendous amount of information had by DSS. I was shocked. We in DI, I was in Defense Intelligence Agency, and when they were forced to bring out the files, I was shocked. They have so much information at DSS presently as I'm talking about what I'm talking about. They have. But you see, if a fish is going to get spoiled, it's going to start getting spoiled from the head. The DSS will not do anything except the Commander-in-Chief's body language shows that this is the direction I want to go. That is where the problem is. The DSS has tremendous information. By the time somebody takes over and wants to undo some of this evil that I've seen in this country, you'll be surprised names that the DSS will bring out. They have the information. There's nothing I'm going to say here that they don't have. The defense headquarters have the solution for the kinetic aspect. They do. I'm not going to come here to advise them. I work with them, and they're still there.